Alright, what is up guys? It is Michael the Tenor from Absolute Arbitrary, and today I'm bringing you a custom map made in Forge World in Halo Reach. This map I call CityScape. It is a symmetrical map with highs and lows, and the center building with the dragon on top. That's probably the highlight of the map, but let's go into deeper detail with this map and take a look around. The first building shown here is the initial spawn for both teams, located in the corners of the map, or the HQ of each team. The teams will spawn on the second floor of this with two exits. The first exit, as you see here, is an exit through the second floor onto a 180 degrees bridge. From here, ground infantry will not be able to access this bridge as it's only a team designated area. Your alternative route is to drop through the floor of the initial spawn and find yourself exiting through the front door of the building. This will give your team a chance to change things up and confuse the enemy team. On a side note, any player equipped with a rocket pack will be able to access both of these exits. However, it does limit the exposure the enemy team has to your initial spawn because ground forces cannot reach the initial spawn. Coming down the street, you will find two buildings. The first building is a single room building only equipped with a medical pack, while the second building is a two-story building giving players access to multiple bridges where they can find themselves in key locations of the map to control the area. In these areas, you will find dense cover, medical packs, and hidden weapons throughout the area. But even though you find a weapon that you may like, it may not always be in the area that you would prefer it in. Such as, I may give you guys a shotgun in a completely open area, or a sniper rifle in a heavily densed area. And I do this because I want players to have full map control and not just camping in one place. So oftentimes I'll give you guys power weapons, but you are exposed for a decent amount of time, so that if you want the power weapons, you have to control that area of the map, and it's often in the middle of the map where you could be shot from any location. Speaking of which, the center structure is a two-story building with very open cover, with very limited cover with the columns, but they allow you access to everywhere in the map. Continuing along the street, you will find another two-story building. The first floor is rather open, but if you find yourself on the second floor, it's got a small window for you to access multiple points on the map where you can shoot from, including the opposing enemy spawn. Directly outside of these buildings are structural columns that if you climb on them properly, you are able to make your way to this bridge-like column that goes across from the middle building to the roof of the building that you were just in. Up here you will find a gravity hammer, which is awfully placed. However, it's a great place to snipe from. Of course, not everything can be shown with a theatrical presentation, so now I will go into a first person and show you guys some tips and tricks that this map actually holds. When I create maps, I love swift and flowing movements throughout the map so that players can access key locations in a very short amount of time for objective plays and just being able to dodge other players. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is how useful these columns can actually be. If you make your way towards the columns, you can actually jump on these platform-like things that I had placed there on purpose so that you guys can double jump and make your way onto the slanted surface of the platforms and make your way to the second story of the middle building. Key for those objective clutches. While on the second story of the middle building, if you guys make your way on the columns again, you can access that platform-like bridge that I showed you guys earlier to get on the roof of that building with the gravity hammer with absolute ease. As you make your way back to the center building, the two sides of the building that I did not include platforms getting to the roof access, you can find grenade launchers hidden within the structural columns, as I will show you guys here. The launcher has very few ammo, so use it wisely. I always like to give the power weapons little ammo so that it doesn't rain on people's parades, although it does give people a little bit of boost when they have the power weapons. Coming back on street level to find the two buildings that I originally showed you guys, underneath the stairs you can find a BR to where you guys can take it wherever you please, but kinda hidden, kinda special. Just to show you guys the point of reference, here's the building. But now walking over to the corner building that I showed you guys earlier, if you go underneath it, you can find a medical pack on the wall, like multiple maps of the same location the medical pack is located. If you head behind the stairs, behind the structure, you will actually find yourself a shiny new shotgun. Alright, now we're just going to head over to that third building I showed you guys with the two-story with the window up top. On the second story, here you will find a needle rifle, and again, the window. I just want to show you guys the point of view and the spectacle that you guys get from this window and how great it actually can turn out to be during a real match. Next, we're going to be heading towards the middle of the map on the first floor since you guys have not seen this yet. The structural barriers located here may seem like they're a little high, but they're actually a perfect height, which gives the player able to shoot over the barrier. However, if they do choose to duck, they're completely hidden. However hidden, there are actually holes along the walls where you can easily throw a grenade underneath and spoil that person's cover. Walking around the circle, you will find the four bottoms of the structural columns. Here you will find either a pistol or two grenades, just as a small re-ammunition for the player, but not too much to give him somewhat of a power. This next tip is actually really useful if you want to get to a place on the map really quick. If you head on over to the corner tower, head up on the second floor and exit outside of the little opening it gives you and onto the smaller buildings right next to it, you can actually jump on the second one of these, run, jump, and land on the curved part of the middle platform and make your way to the center building in an instant. And alright guys, that wraps it up for the tips and tricks of this map. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this map. I kind of spent 4.5 hours making it one day. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna make a map. And then I just sat down and made a map. And I made the assassin video for the HD PVR test. If you guys can check that out, this is what the map is on. But thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate the comments and the likings that you guys do give me if you guys choose to. I mean, I always love the comments. I try to reply to all of them that, you know, are replyable to. But thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.